Hello and welcome to the Video Lab podcast. My name is Sam and I'm here with my good friend AJ.
Hey there.
Together we review movies, TV shows, and streaming content.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
What is it you want, Barry? You want the moon?
I want the truth!
I see dead people.
You shall not pass!
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
This is Sparta!
I am your father.
Let us fight to free the world, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us all unite!
Today we'll be reviewing the movie Palm Springs.
You might need to say it over. Sorry, I was talking while you were doing it.
Well, that's the simple thing, AJ, is the fact that we have separate audio tracks.
Oh, all right. My bad. I forgot about that.
I'm glad you just realized that.
I had not. Okay, yeah. Stuck in a very 2000s mentality with audio.
Today we'll be reviewing the movie Palm Springs. When a carefree Niles and reluctant maid of honor, Sarah, have a chance encounter at a Palm Spring wedding, things get complicated as they are unable to escape the venue, themselves, or each other. So this movie has a pretty star-studded cast, just like the last movie we did, which was Ad Astra. Wouldn't you concur, AJ?
I would, yeah. It is quite well. It's got three. Is it really that star-studded? It's got three characters. There's
Andy Samberg, who plays Niles.
Yeah,
I didn't know the girl's name before I looked it up.
Kristen Milioti,
who plays Sarah. J.K. Simmons is another big one.
Yeah, he's a classic.
Who plays Roy.
There aren't really other characters in the movie that we're following. They're just kind of extras, it feels like, just because of the nature of the story.
Do you have a guess as to how much money this movie made in the U.S. box office-wise?
Didn't this go straight to streaming?
I think it did. So I'm not exactly how it made money per se.
But there is a box office number?
There is.
Okay,
U.S. box office, yep.
Interesting. I wonder if it was a rental before it went to streaming. So
possibly DVD, maybe?
Well, yeah, could be. I would guess $17 million.
Oh, man. No. As of September 18th, 2020, it has made $439,427 US dollars.
Okay, well, that's why. It's got to be. There's a streaming thing there. That must be talking about rentals.
It's got to be. And I think
that's such an obscenely low number.
Here's an interesting little tidbit. Palm Springs was the highest seller in the Sundance Film Fest history at $17.5 million. Whoa. It's easy to see why Hulu and Neon dropped all the cash on it. It's all stuff of streams.
Sure. And that's harder because I don't think any of the streaming services really release. Well, I guess there's some data. We just don't really know it. If that released to a theater, that would be considered the greatest flop of all time.
This movie, when we first started it, I was expecting one thing and got something completely different. I thought it was going to be some goofy Lonely Island type flick, but it was a lot deeper than what it made out to be.
Yeah, I was the same way. I had no idea it was the Groundhog's Day kind of formula with time loop, and I just thought it was going to be a funny rom-com. It is much funnier and more clever than that.
They do a couple of things in it that when you have the setup of the Groundhog Day scenario, we've seen it done before and done well with Bill Murray. But they do it in a way where it seems fresh, and the takes on certain things and the levels to which the characters explore each other and themselves is actually pretty. It doesn't get old, you know?
Yeah. And I think one difference is that this movie explores what it's like when multiple people are in the time loop together rather than one person dealing with those consequences.
Oh, stop! Don't come in here!
Are you okay?
Don't come in here!
It kind of weighs on you when you think about it. If you are trapped in this really purgatory of never ending same day scenario, pulling in people who are now trapped in it with you, it would weigh on my heart heavily if I were in Niles' shoes.
Which part would weigh heavily?
just the fact that now I've subjected other people to this never-ending hell as well.
Right, yeah. When he introduces other people to it, like Roy, I don't think that was late in the game where he realized how much of a hell it was. But yeah, it is condemning to a hell. But he doesn't realize it at first.
Yeah, I think he's almost enjoying it at first and then kind of dips into the sadness.
One of the writers tipped off, in an interview that Niles has been in the time loop of this single day for 40 years. That would be quite a long frickin' time to do the same day in and out. And I think it explains why Niles is so nihilistic. I wonder if that's a coincidence.
Hey, there you go.
Because he's clearly given up when we reach him here.
What is this?
This is today. Today is yesterday, and tomorrow is also today. It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
I mean, to what extent? How long could you last possibly and not lose your mind doing the same thing every single day?
Yeah, I think Niles clearly lost his fucking marbles, and he's just I think he's just having a good time every day and just doing whatever he feels like, which in some respects sounds very relaxing. And he's incredibly carefree because he knows nothing has any ramifications because he can just do it over.
How do I stop it? I don't want tomorrow to be today. I want tomorrow to be tomorrow.
Right. That's natural. Unfortunately, that's never going to happen. Tomorrow will always and forever now be today. So.
And what I was saying earlier, the little things that they do to keep things fresh with the whole time loop scenario. I liked how right away they don't take long to introduce the whole idea of the time loop. And okay, yeah, we get it. It's reoccurring. It gets to it within the first act pretty quick. And then from there, we have the whole sudden setup, which I think out of the whole movie, besides the emotional gravity that Sarah and Niles have between each other and the good chemistry they have, I really loved the introduction of Niles getting shot by the arrow out of nowhere.
Oh, I was gonna say that's probably my favorite scene in the movie because that's where things start taking off.
Ow! Fuck! What the fuck is happening?
He's clearly in pain, but he's not panicking, which is really amusing. He says,
I thought I smelled you, you piece of shit!
and Sarah is the one with the appropriate reaction.
Oh my god! What the fuck? What the fuck is happening? Oh my god! Holy fucking shit! What?
Niles' relationship with Roy is a nice buffer between just having it between Sarah and him. It adds a little more complexity to that idea of subjecting someone to the hell of this time loop and what it means to become to just like accept your situation.
Honestly, the funniest scenes are with J.K. Simmons as Roy, and the most impactful, I would say.
I think it might be him.
Him?
Roy.
Fucker.
When Roy pulls over Sarah and Niles, and Sarah rams him with the same cop car and teases a cop into tasing Niles, and Roy's like, who the fuck was that? As he's like bleeding to death on the ground.
That's what I liked about Sarah a lot in this, is that the writers seem to portray her as a character who, while has faults, and obviously later we learn that she's sleeping with her sister's fiance and is really fucked up, although she's like messed up internally and is kind of depressed and things like that, she ultimately takes things into her own hands and doesn't rely on Niles to solve the time loop for her or get out. She's the one who takes initiative and kind of powers through. So a little bit of, I don't know, women empowerment, but not making it so blatantly obvious, like in the Avengers movie when all the women come together to fight, where it doesn't feel like it's punching you in the face.
Sure. Yeah, it is quite amusing to me how the resolution of this movie happens, where she spends her time in the loop by learning quantum physics.
It was dope, dude. I thought it was so cool.
It was very funny. And it reminds me of Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day when he becomes a doctor and a pianist, and he becomes everyone in town's favorite person. And he's actually doing something productive. like Sarah is here, whereas Niles in this movie just fucks around endlessly for 40 years and gives up on life.
They're the yin to their yang. And
yeah, no.
again, the chemistry between them I thought was just so genuine and very well portrayed on screen, especially around halfway through the movie when we're having that campfire scene and they're tripping on mushrooms and they see dinosaurs walking past the rocks.
Right. Yeah, the director tried to explain those dinosaurs as because in that moment they're talking about their relationship, I believe.
The who, what, why of your past. You got here, that's all that matters.
But if you really want to know someone deeper, it does matter.
I disagree. This, the next bite, that's all that matters.
But the point of the dinosaurs was to show something equally impossible happening, to show the possibility of, you know, their relationship actually happening and things actually working out.
My God.
Do you see them too?
Are they real?
Who cares?
You know, that's one of the core elements, I think, towards the end is Niles finally comes to the realization that he's ready to risk going back to the real world because he really doesn't want to leave. He becomes so comfortable with just being so safe and repeating this cycle that I think is a metaphor to a lot of us who live in a normal life and we just repeat our same work schedule every single day, that we almost just become numb to it and accept that it's going to be the same thing over and over. It's like a message of break away from that, try different things, be willing to risk things and live life to your fullest.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, both Sarah and Niles are struggling with finding the meaning of their lives within this horrible loop. It's a very on the nose comparison that everyone understands, but the trap can just as easily be applied to questions of generally making life meaningful in a non-loop situation. Another powerful moment with Roy is when Niles goes to his house in New Jersey or something, I think it is.
Torture me, I don't care!
Motherfucker.
You're right, it's dark down here.
The fuck are you doing here?
Hey, Roy. I give up. You win.
They're sitting in Roy's backyard and Roy talks about how, you know, he's got these nice kids and his boy is watering dog shit for some reason.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Little Joey is watering dog shit. It's weird, but it's beautiful.
What happened to marriage being a bottomless pit of sorrow?
Things change, you know. Priorities change.
It's weird. That's his exact quote. It's weird. And but then he says, you know,
I had a lot of anger towards you, man. I'm not going to see my kids grow up. Never going to walk little Livy down the aisle.
Roy makes Niles realize how miserable it is to have no future, even when the present is so good. Because staying in the exact same moment all the time when no one else changes around you is literally the same as death and hell.
This was always a good day here. My wife in the prime of her womanhood. Little Joey tending his dog shit. Livy's going to do a family portrait later this afternoon where we're all animals. I'm a cuddly grizzly bear. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
It was such a nice thing they did too. Again, subtle, not punchy in the face, with resolving Roy's conflict of being trapped in the loop, where he's repeating his loop and encounters Niles again, and Niles doesn't recognize him at all. And then that makes Roy realize, oh my gosh, he really did escape by using the C4.
Yeah, the crazy quantum physics that Sarah learned to get them out.
Dude, do you think if you were in the same circumstances of going to a wedding, you go out to the middle of a desert because you're fooling around with a girl or something, and you encounter this glowing cave, you would have gone in as well after them if they were crawling towards it?
Absolutely not. That's a terrible idea. Everything about that screamed no. That's an awful idea.
I mean, I guess maybe, I mean, if Jess was with me and she like went in and got sucked up
Well, that's
guess.
different if you're going after someone, but if you just meet, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so if you just met someone, I guess, well, because the reason why Sarah got sucked in is because she likes Niles and she was concerned about him because he had an arrow stuck in his back. And most people aren't thinking, oh no, what if I get stuck into a time loop?
Yeah.
She doesn't know what that light is. I also do want to say that I enjoy that the day that repeats is relatively mundane. It's not, there's nothing special about the day that's being repeated. It's just they happen to get stuck in this. Other time loop movies, there's a reason why they got stuck in the time loop. Sarah kind of alludes to this where she's like, oh, maybe this is karma for
sleeping with
her sister's fiance.
Maybe it's a karma thing. Yeah, what if it's like, to get out of this, you have to be selfless and then you're free.
It's about $100 candy bar and I'm still here.
Yeah, but not like that, like real acts of selflessness, like the bone marrow shit that Tala does. Like what if, oh my God, what if life just keeps going for everyone else here, but not you and me until we've earned our way out? You've really never thought about this before?
Yeah, no, I've never thought about the multiverse. All right, fine. Let's say you're right and that would work. What's the most selfless act you can think of? Something that would guarantee this day to end.
But there's no reason why they got stuck. They just did. They happened to find.
I see what you're saying.
The time loop itself is not a story mechanic trying to push these characters to be better people or to live their lives. It's just a thing that is in the background as they work through it.
Yep. The solution to this whole time mechanic thing isn't love or some like gaggy thing like that.
Yeah, where she had confessed to her sister that she slept with her fiance. No, it's just they just had to get out, and it's irrelevant to their development.
Mm-hmm. Did you notice at all in terms of the camera work in this movie how they used quite a bit of God shots, which is also known where the camera is looking directly overhead of the actor?
Wait, what kind of shots did you call it?
It's called a God shot. It's referred to as that in the cinematography biz.
Yeah, sure.
Where the camera is looking like directly above a subject from high up most times.
Mm-hmm.
I think they use that quite a bit just to communicate them really truly being trapped in the time loop.
Sure. No, the scene I can think of most definitely is Niles in the pool.
They used editing where a lot of buildup happens right before they die in certain instances and then cut to like the bed or, build up moments and then cut to like a quiet moment in several instances.
Totally. And I think that's what I like most about the Groundhog Day formula. Because we know that they're experiencing the same day over and over, they're able to do a bunch of those different moments and different camera angles to as you just said, show that this is redundant, that they're getting sick of it and it's just the same thing day after day while also making it look entertaining.
It was pretty minimal too, but I liked how at a certain point Sarah leaves to go do the quantum mechanic training. We keep hearing every time we cut to her eyes opening or his eyes opening, we hear wake up, and it's her voice from like the future, but then she's not there anymore to do it until the actual morning when she's back in Niles' room saying like I solved it, and then it's like over. Like that doesn't repeat anymore.
Right, yeah, because I think that was their last day, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wake up.
While we see Niles and Sarah do a bunch of funny, crazy stuff like dressing as funny, different people, going and playing tricks on Andy's cheating girlfriend. Close to an hour into the movie, Sarah basically kills Roy. Niles is saying, even in a loop, like what you do matters.
Pain matters. What we do to other people matters. Being a source of terror is not fun, okay? It's not fulfilling. I know this from experience. It doesn't matter that everything resets and people don't remember. We remember. We have to deal with the things that we do.
And I thought that was interesting to think about how while they're still doing crazy stuff, it's not necessarily malicious, or at least at this point it isn't. I think Niles earlier said, trust me, you don't want to do that. I know from experience.
Mm-hmm.
And how he's not abusing his power.
Yeah, and those are the most heartfelt moments of the movie is where, Sarah in that scene is saying, what's the point of all this? And in the allusion to real life as well as this time loop, Niles says, we kind of have no choice but to live. So I think your best bet is just to learn how to suffer existence. And on top of that, the only thing that matters is, pain. Pain matters. What we do to other people matters. And that's kind of Niall's principle. How he's been living out these time loops is just avoiding pain and avoiding causing needless suffering to others, even though that suffering wouldn't, have any ramifications. It still matters to him and his character and his soul.
Yeah, it's really quite complex when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, quite.
Rating wise, it did pretty good on both fronts for critics and for audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It got a 94% certified fresh by critics.
Oh,
and
good.
A 88% audience score. On IMDb, it got a 7.4 out of 10 stars and an 83 Metascore from critics. So a pretty well-rounded score overall. Well, AJ, how many time loops would you rate this?
I'd give it about 8.5 time loops out of 10.
I think I would match that.
All right.
8.5 as well.
It's our first match.
This is the best movie we've watched so far in terms of having some weight behind it and comedy and good cinematography and checking all the boxes so far.
Yeah, it is a really well-balanced movie. It's a sweet romantic comedy that makes good use of the time loop formula, well written, full of humor and heart, that perfectly fills the time within the film. Just pound for pound, lots of laughs. And I think when you're able to play with the time mechanic as they do here, it's hard not to make a really enjoyable flick because characters have free reign to experiment with their reality, and prior time loop days that we haven't seen can be referenced to make further jokes or reinforce the story, where they can tell, oh yeah, the other day I did this, and they can show a scene from that because they live in a kind of quasi ultra imaginative universe.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Video Lab podcast. If you have recommendations for what movie, TV show, or series you'd like us to watch, be sure to email us at thevideolabpodcast@gmail.com. The next movie we'll be watching is called Anastasia, Once Upon a Time. It sounds like it's going to be pure gold.
Yeah.
I'm keeping your yeah in there.
You can find my review for this movie and other movies at my blog, asajthinks.com. And be sure to rate and subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening.
Until next time, see ya. Peace.